Okay, one of my friends, and I'm going to make some videos where I'm referencing somebody that wrote me or a comment or somebody just idly asked a question. I'm Andy Lee Graham, and I've lived abroad for 27 plus years in 115 countries, and I'm presently in the United States. And one of my friends wrote me about retire abroad media, and it is very accurate in what it was. I watched like a 20-minute video on it, and this one couple were explaining that there's a whole industry around retire abroad media. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, there's media that is specifically targeted towards, especially like I always think about the medical tourism. That can actually make you travel to Guatemala or Colombia or somewhere to get your teeth done, and it's going to cost you more money to do that than to actually do it in the United States. And there's this delusion sometimes that medical abroad is better than medical inside the United States. So there's the retire abroad media is thing. What prompted me to make this video was the fact that he said you left thousands of dollars on the table by telling the truth. Okay. What you're going to see is on retire abroad media, RAM, is that it's not an abbreviation or an acronym. I don't think RAM's really a word, right? Well, maybe it is. Okay, but RAM, retire abroad media, what you're going to hear is terms like live in paradise. I watched one of these videos where this guy said that the quality of life was in the Philippines was at the same level as the United States. Just total bullshit. Okay. There are areas where you can have a very nice quality of life and similar, but you can't just roam around the country and have an overall general quality of streets, highways, sidewalks, shopping and things the same as the United States. Yes, you can go to Germany maybe and certain parts of Western Europe and different countries, but there's 25 overdeveloped countries where you can live almost similar to the United States. Okay, but what was amazing to me is in the retire abroad media, and this was what was really good about this video, is that they keyed in on all the terminology that you're going to do, that your life is going to be cheaper, that you are. And I will agree that it's cheaper to live abroad than it is to live in the United States. And a lot of the things, especially like the open air markets, are cheaper. To have a house exactly the same as the United States is going to cost you more, okay? Because you don't have all the access to the products. I learned that one time in the Philippines. This man said, hey, it costs more to build a house here, exactly the same quality as the United States than it does. Actually, when I was in the Dominican Republic, they were taking these Russian cabinet makers to build cabinets because a lot of high-end people want high-end products, and it's hard to get high-end skills in other countries. So the cabinet makers were coming from Russia or Bulgaria or something like that. But the point is this: you got to be aware of the retire abroad media. I've always made a joke that after 7 years, normally about 85% of people return back to the United States or Europe or wherever they came from because the quality of life wasn't exactly what they thought, okay? And it's kind of like the 7-year itch. After 7 years, most people retire abroad. And I almost every single person that I've ever known that lived abroad. I had two friends in Togo, and I had James Easter in Lake Athlon. There's many people that you would think would never leave where they're at, and they retire in the United States. And normally, what prompts this is medical. And right now, what you're seeing, even for me, is a medical reason to be here. I want to be able to have a place where I can live, where I can use my medical insurance and have medical problems as I get older. That doesn't mean I want to stop traveling the world. It just means that I want to be able to secure in my medical. And normally, the first time somebody has a major problem abroad, they return home. COVID sent almost 85% of the expats back to the United States. And that was just a minor thing compared to things like cancer and things, chronic problems, COPD, and different things that happen in the United States. But the retire abroad media, and I'm gonna get, when they say life is better, life is paradise, you're gonna live in paradise. They're going to use these terms that are like I will say that there are paradise climates. I very seldom say that I live in paradise. And I've made jokes, just another day in paradise, which is a joke we used to say in Mexico. But the point is this: is that when you start hearing these really expansive words, like you're going to live in paradise. You're going to have friends everywhere. Everything's going to be great. Whenever you hear terms, what you want to hear is specific things like the cost of living on fresh vegetables is cheaper here. That's what you want to hear. You don't want to hear these things that the overall everything is cheap. There's things, one of the benefits I always said about going to Thailand is that I can have most of the products that I would have in the United States. If I lived in Thailand, I can buy it. If I live in Central and South America, they don't have the products. So I'm lacking on different products. Okay, so it's sometimes very difficult to live. But beware of the retire abroad media, because 95% of them, maybe more, just are lying sacks of shit. Okay. I just thought I'd bring up that terminology because it was really good when this friend of mine wrote me about this. And I have left a lot of money on the table because I didn't preach the format where I said that everything was wonderful and always wonderful. One reason why I leave countries, one of my friends says, Andy, you're only good for about 60 days in a country. Because I don't really like a lot of countries. I like them for about 60 days, and after that, and the idea of the sad part is people are getting visas, like resident visas, to go to Philippines, or they go to Ecuador, they go to wherever they go, and they buy a house just like they would in the United States. Do not buy a house abroad for about 5 to 7 years after you're there. Costa Rica is the champion of having empty houses because people moved there and built this house and realized that there's no place like home. Retire abroad media, RAM. It's a vicious game that is trying to suck in your cash. It's like a real estate scam, and that's what it is.